This video is part of our series about bilingual education in El Salvador. I have a bunch of friends that have their kids at Escuela Americana. So I reached out to them and asked them if they would like to show us and sponsor a video. So here I'm going to sit down with one of my friends who have her kids at Escuela Americana so you can see for yourself what it's like. Here we go. So here I am at Escuela Americana with my friend Tina. Okay. And she has been super generous to explain and share a little bit about her experience here at Escuela Americana. So first of all, let's go all the way back to when you were in the States and you knew you were headed towards El Salvador. What were your biggest concerns?
I think for our family, moving down our education from the United States down to El Salvador, there were a lot of things we didn't know. We had a lot of questions. But our top concerns were, we wanted our children, their transition from United States education to their education in El Salvador to be as smooth as possible, to be something they were familiar with. We didn't want too much new, too much novel, because adjusting to a new country and language and everything is a huge adjustment by itself. And we didn't want to add too much to have a brand new experience at school as well. So before we came, we did some research online. We were able to get in touch with parents down here in similar situations and get their feel and input and opinions of the different schools options that we felt we had. My husband had the opportunity of coming down before we moved here and was able to do tours and ask questions and come in person to a variety of schools. And he did some recording for me, and we had long conversations and with questions of what was going on and what was available, and some of our things we were looking for. So first, the transition. We were looking for a smooth transition for our schools.
Yeah.
For our children for school. We were looking for a good medical system or provider. I have, my youngest is a type 1 diabetic. And so making sure that he has the care and supervision he needs is really one of our top priorities for him.
Definitely.
So it needed to be something where we felt secure with that. And another top issue and concern was the security and safety of the kids. So those were
kind of the
main things. Of course, there were many other things, but those were the things we were looking for as we were, looking into the different schools.
So what has the school experience been so far? Because you kind of made the leap.
So we made a choice to go with Escuela Americana, obviously, because we felt that best fit those needs that we were looking for. And of the schools we looked at, it felt like it would be the best fit and smoothest transition for our children. So I think, for example, the medical care here has been absolutely amazing for my youngest. He's in 4th grade. And first came to the school, we were concerned about diabetes. They said, well, why don't you meet with our doctor? And we're like, a doctor?
A doctor?
Like, there's a doctor
Since
here?
when has there been a doctor at a school?
Never have my kids had more than one available nurse, and often it's a nurse from multiple schools. So we were really excited to sit down and have a meeting with the doctor and the nurses at the lower elementary, or on the elementary primary side, that would be working with him.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the amazing things I found in my research. I was astonished to find out that they actually have 4 different medical clinics on campus. They have a medical clinic for the elementary, the secondary school, the athletic department, and for employees.
Okay, yeah. So he was at recess, and while he was playing, his CGM got ripped off. And that is what helps the nurses, doctor, and myself see what he's doing through the day, his blood sugar trends and stuff. And so it's really important piece of technology for us. And the nurses were able to right away replace it. I didn't have to come to the school, which in the past, that's what I always had to do.
That is nice.
They knew how to do it. Were very familiar with diabetes and his care, and they are also very proactive. If they're not sure about something, they've had me come in and show them how to do something, and I've never had to come in again.
Awesome.
So it's been phenomenal for our family and a great experience for us.
Yeah. And that's just it. When you have a special needs kid, I mean, you always have stress because you're never, you don't really have your own time because there's always that in the background of just like, but what if I'm needed in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
And so to have that high quality of care, and that's why I was even surprised that, my special needs kid didn't go to the clinic a lot. He went to the counselor's office a lot. So, I mean, I was impressed here that they actually have 5 counselors for their elementary school, and then they have 5 more counselors for the secondary school, and that the counselors in elementary, there's like 1 counselor per grade, and the counselor moves up with the kids. So the counselor actually develops a relationship and really gets to know the kid in order to best help that kid regulate. And
my kids have only been here a short time, and they know who their counselor is,
mm-hmm.
and they are on first name basis with them, and very
Awesome.
comfortable.
Yeah,
with their counselors. So
yeah,
they're very much a part of their school day, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they have that close contact, and because I can count so many times when I was called up, for my son. It's like, okay, I'll be there. Okay, just wait. I'll be there. And to know that they have that kind of support and that they grow with the kid is, oh, wow. It would have been a lot easier it just would have been a lot easier for my child.
Yeah.
Hands down.
I mean, the amount of support our children have in their school, just in their everyday school day, it has been really amazing. Especially my youngest, my 4th grader,
Mm-hmm.
school is rough for him. He needs a lot of help, and he needs a lot of assistance, and he has basically a whole team behind him at school. He has his teacher who he loves. He has his reading teacher or director, and she works very closely with him and knows what he needs. He's got his Spanish teacher that works closely with him. The counselor is involved in a lot of our decision making, and as he's needed help or interventions, the whole team and the elementary assistant director has been involved in his education too. So the number of people behind each child is really
and it's
incredible.
Lot of communication.
A lot of communication. And my middle school children, I have an 8th grader and a 6th grader, and they don't have as many needs. They don't need as much assistance but they also, anytime they've had a question or a challenge, it's been very easy for them to get in contact with their teacher or the administration. The teachers are available for my middle school kids either before or after school for a certain amount of time, and the kids are highly encouraged to go to the teachers anytime they have questions or they need extra time or assistance.
Yeah,
so
the
that's
school,
been really good.
It seems very, very like student focused, because even the high school and the secondary counselors, they're not assigned by grade, but they're assigned by last name. So, but you'll still have the same secondary counselor all through your crazy middle school transition and high school. But then in high school, I was impressed that, there's a lot of times as a parent, you worry about like, but what happens after high school? If my kid goes to school in El Salvador, can they still get into my alma mater back in the States? But Escuela Americana actually hires a professional college counseling firm and the price is included in the tuition, but these professional college counselors come in and work with the kids starting in 9th grade. about where they might be going towards, making sure that they have everything in line to go to the school or whatever training they're going to do post-graduation. I was surprised and impressed, but I mean, in an international school, you've got to be ready for anything.
Yeah.
What has been some of the significant differences?
I think, transition wise, my kids, it was very easy for them to jump into Escuela Americana, and the routine was very familiar. Some of the things that are more unique are my children have never experienced the 8-day schedule before. I know some schools in the United States implement that, but my children had never had that. And so coming here, they're on the 8-day rotating schedule, and they have voiced how much they really enjoy it. And to be able to mix their days up and to have breaks between classes, or to only have certain classes on one day, not the next day, and then to go back to it. It gives them some time to recuperate and to also, sometimes their subject is in the morning and sometimes it's after lunch, but it's never at the same time every day, which I think, and in our family's experience, has been a really good thing for our kids. They're able to focus better, be more creative. Yeah. So it's been a great feature for our family.
Well, and they get to, if you have a class that you hate, it's nice to have like a day off. You're like, well, at least today I don't have to go to that class. Whereas if it's a normal school and you have that class every single day, it's like the hour of dread is coming.
And at first, the 8-day schedule was very overwhelming for them, and they were very intimidated by it. But very quickly, they realized that it really worked in their favor. And it was really easy. They figured out the schedule and patterns very quickly, and it was not the stress they thought it would be.
Yeah. Well, a lot of middle schoolers and high schoolers, they can be concerned about cliques or being treated like you're an outsider. Did you have any concerns about that, or how has that resolved? Have your kids have any bullying or any outsiderness?
Well, before we started, we were pretty nervous, and we were just hoping that they could just find one friend, just to find someone that they could mesh with and be happy with at school. And we have been very happy. Our kids have made friends very easily through their individual classes, through their after-school activities, through the clubs, through drama, theater, choir. There have been many avenues where they've been able to meet lots of different kids. And there's always the groups and things, or there's always the interactions with kids that may not be always... it's not 100% positive every day with every child, but my middle schoolers have had really great experiences. They have made a lot of friends. My daughter has said it's very easy to make friends. My 6th grader, he's say, well, I wouldn't say it is easy to make friends, but it's not hard. So basically they have really enjoyed the social transition. And it's, of course, not been perfect in a lot of ways, but any issues or problems we've had have been addressed, resolved, and my kids are very happy with their social experiences here.
I was impressed that Escuela Americana lets the students initiated clubs. So if a student really loves chess and he says, well, I want to start a chess club, then he can have a teacher advisor, and then he can start a chess club. And so I've been surprised at like the variety.
Yeah.
There's amazing variety.
My daughter, when the clubs first opened, she joined a board game club, an art club, a theater club. She was really excited to have the options of trying a variety of things. And she's really enjoyed that. My son in 6th grade is participating in the rock wall climbing after school sports. They have a lot of sports. That's the one he has chosen, which is a pretty unique opportunity coming from our background with sports. Rock climbing was never
an option
in their schools. So he was very excited to participate in that, and had fun, and even has had competitions with the other schools with that. If he's
I didn't know you could
intrigued.
have rock wall climbing competitions, but I guess so. It's whoever gets to the top
Yes.
and
Well,
rings the bell.
they race and they're timed, but it's not necessarily just against the person they're climbing with. It's kind of their best time stacked with their ages and abilities and grades and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
I noticed that something that was interesting when when I walked through the campus was they actually have exposure to new sports, like international sports that I didn't even know existed back in the US. Like I saw there's a tech ball table and I saw the kids playing foot volley and instead of just, basic volleyball. And they actually have badminton too. They have ping pong. And of course they have the standard extracurriculars like soccer, volleyball, basketball, handball, STEM, and they have like a cheer club. That really impressed me was their STEAM team and their robotics team, and that it really is about kind of fueling the kids' interests and their desires so that they love to learn and that nothing is off limits. The other thing is, what about the arts?
So there's a lot of choices here compared to some of my children's U.S. experiences. A lot of the arts have been stripped from a lot of schools. The funding has been lost. The only so it was very limited what my kids had to be able to choose from before. And here they have been able to participate in choir. There are art classes, band, theater, drama, both in classes and after school. They've got a play they're preparing for in the spring that they do after school things for. So there's just so many options. And in high school as well. I don't have a high schooler, but I know that there are quite a few design and art and other arts classes available at that level.
So what does your kid's typical day look like? Like how do the days start at Escuela Americana?
Well, I know on the elementary side, my fourth grader, he comes into school, and as he walks in the door, there is a poster up on their door. So the social, emotional well-being of students in Escuela Americana is a high priority. And it's one of the things we've really enjoyed about the school is we feel like they're looking at the whole child, not just academics, not just this, not just that, but the whole thing. So in the mornings, they have an opportunity to place their name in their kind of their mood box or where they feel
box?
how they're feeling that day. So their teacher has an idea of what they're coming to school with, what's their energy, what do they have to give, where might they need some assistance. And they have a morning meeting time where they check in. All the students get an opportunity to kind of participate, share what they're doing, share their opinions, and feel heard and feel like they are part of the community of their classroom. And I believe the counselors are involved in that community.
Yeah, well, I saw in my research, I found out that the social emotional learning that Escuela Americana does, it's based on a Yale study called RULER, and the RULER stands for recognize your emotion, understand it, label it, express it, and then regulate it. So I love that approach to, okay, we're not shutting you down, but we're not exactly saying your emotions are your dictators and you must do what you are feeling. I was really impressed with how they teach the kids to process their emotions. And what is the other thing that has most impressed you with just their pedagogy or the way they teach?
We have really loved the academics of Escuela Americana. It is very rigorous still. There are high expectations, and the kids have to work really hard. So it's very much what they're accustomed to as far as all the things they need to learn. But one of the things we've really liked and that our children have really enjoyed is their education doesn't feel so much as teaching for the test at the end of the year. It's more of not just consuming the information, but really absorbing it and applying it, really mastering the information. And some of the ways they get to do that have been really exciting for my kids. A lot of projects that really give them an opportunity to dive deeper into their subject, whatever it is.
What's an example of one of the projects that they just really loved?
Yeah, so my 8th grade daughter, they just did a really fun one. I think it's, but so there's a podcast called Smash Boom Best where they take, it's kind of a kids debating podcast, and they take two topics and they compare and contrast, and each side has someone to defend that and describe it and kind of give the case for that topic. So for my daughter, they were learning different types of government, like oligarchy, tyranny, democracy, and there are others that I can't remember, but each student was assigned a topic to research and study, and then they were given an opponent, which they also had to research and study that side to kind of point out the pros and cons or of their own and their opponents. And then they presented their things to the classroom, and all the kids got to listen and participate. I think there was even some questions asked and stuff, but my daughter really got a really good grasp of her topic was oligarchy and versus tyranny. And lots of kids did different combinations of democracy versus oligarchy and different things. But it was really fun for the kids to participate in the preparation and in the kind of the debate. The debate side was a lot of fun for the kids to observe. And I think they really got a lot out of that experience, not just here, memorize the definitions of these governments.
And answer them on the test. Okay, that one goes with this one, that one goes with this one, instead of like memorize. It was they really knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, and they could explain it, not just, okay, here I passed the test. I have a deeper understanding of this now. And I feel like it's a really good foundations for their future education and understanding more of the world and history and so many things.
I was surprised at how much Escuela Americana, how much power they give to the kids to actually exercise and practice with their decision making and their independence. Like, for example, I learned that 11th and 12th graders, they have their classes called Invention by Design, where they go and they poll all the kids in the school and they say, well, what do you guys think needs to be better? What can we improve? And like, for example, before they wanted more outdoor learning spaces. And so they went and they asked the kids, and then they made little models and they tested out their models. And, and of course they don't get to do everything that they want to do. Like, for example, they're like, hey, let's have hammocks. And it's like, no, hammocks did not fly. Nobody's cuddling in hammocks during your school day. So, but most of their basic design and what they were creating got approved, and then it got done. And just for a kid to have that kind of independent thinking power and creation power, it's just very empowering to the child itself.
My kids have commented on that. They have a lot of autonomy in some of their project choices. They have autonomy in their free time. They get to sit kind of where they want. My son, sometimes he and his friends, they have lunch in the library and play board games, and they feel very independent and free, and they feel very trusted and respected. And that's something that they have really enjoyed at school.
They even have a podcast that the kids direct. That's called Trojan Talk, and you can find it on Spotify if you want to see actual examples of what Escuela Americana kids, what they look like and what they do.
Another fun thing that shows what the kids get to kind of run and be in charge of is some of their fundraisers and things are planned by the students. One that they've just started the last couple of years that my kids absolutely loved was the color run. And the 9th grade class put on this, they call it the color run, and it was like a festival and this little course that the kids could run where they throw the color chalk packets at them, and there's colors flying everywhere, and the kids are just having a blast. And the 9th graders planned that, put that together, and the money for that was put towards the activities and decisions the kids make to improve the school.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes towards that. So I think that's a really great, I love that my kids are able to participate and make decisions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So be
And-
really a part of the school.
And I thought it was really interesting how Escuela Americana actually has they have service hours that the kids are required to do. So they have different community partners that that they work with. One is like a nursing home where the kids can go and do elderly visits, and they have another one that's a dog shelter, and then they have another one that where the kids can go and visit other kids with cancer. And I think there's a fourth one that's like an underprivileged daycare. Or again, the kids can use a little bit of their extra time to go and actually serve the community or do a donation drive for one of these community partners. And because I mean, honestly, these kids are incredibly blessed to be in this kind of scenario and to have all of this support. But with all of those blessings, there also comes a lot of responsibility. And so I like the fact that Escuela Americana shows that, okay, but you also have a responsibility to give because you receive so much. And in fact, they even have appreciation days, and they throw a big Christmas dinner for the workers that work at the school that aren't teachers or administrators. And they invite their families to come for the big Christmas celebration. And I was like, what a great way to to show in your kids that, no human has more value than any other human. It's all of our responsibility to treat everyone with kindness and respect, regardless of where you are in life.
And I think that the school is doing a really good job trying to prepare these kids to not only get through school and go out into the world, but to be community members, to give back to their world, to thrive in the world as a world citizen, not just as their individual self.
Well, thank you so much, hon, for coming on down. And if you are interested in Escuela Americana, you can go just email this email right here and then set up an appointment to talk on the telephone, talk by Zoom, or to come and visit yourself. So you can see the facilities, you can see the kids, you can see the classrooms, how they do things, and bring your questions. Bring your questions if you have an IEP or if you are worried about, but wait a minute, what about standardized tests? Any doubts or differences that are a concern for you, bring them and ask them in the interview, and they'll show you hands-on how Escuela Americana kind of rolls, so you can make an informed decision and feel confident in where your kids are at on a daily basis. And if you're looking to move to El Salvador, look up Living Like a Local, who can help you with all of those kind of transition issues and questions of so you can make the best transition you can possibly have to this beautiful, amazing country of El Salvador. I am Jenny Adi, shining my light so you can shine yours, and we'll see you guys next time.